Hi, my name is Robert. This video is designed to give you step-by-step detailed instructions on completing the task at hand. Please read the comments in the About section of this video. It has valuable information and updates. My YouTube channel has a disclaimer video that I encourage you to watch. And please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you found what you're looking for. Thank you very much for watching. On these P80 Volvos, this is a common sight. Whenever I see a picture like that, that usually means that the air conditioner is not working. There are a number of reasons why your air conditioner may not be functioning properly, but the two most common problems with the air conditioning systems in these 850s, S&V 70s, these P80 Volvos, is that one, the system needs to be recharged. Over the years, it has created a leak that's caused the Freon level to drop below the threshold of turning the air conditioning on. And number two, the air conditioner compressor clutch has worn to the point where it's failing to properly engage. Now, when you come to the front of the motor, look down past the alternator. The next item down there a little bit lower is the air conditioner compressor, and you can see the serpentine belt wrapping around the air conditioner compressor. Now, if that air conditioner compressor is not kicking on, it's probably because one, the Freon level is low, or two, the clutch is worn. But normally, if it won't kick on at all, it's the Freon level. So you can look in the About comments and see a link on how to service these if you want to service it yourself. Now, the highlight of this video is telling you how to determine if your clutch has a problem and how to take care of it. You can either install zip ties to close that gap, or you can pull the front of the clutch off and remove a washer to shim it to the proper gap. Now, if you're having a problem to whereas you're driving along, your air conditioning is working, and then 10, 15, 20 minutes into a drive, 30 minutes into a drive, all of a sudden your air conditioner is no longer working, it's probably this air conditioner compressor clutch has a bad gap, and once it warms up, it's not re-engaging to turn the compressor back on. And you can verify that by taking a broomstick or something, bumping the front of the compressor with the system on, seeing if it turns back on, or shutting the car off for a little while, turning it back on, and seeing if it re-engages. If that's the case, you want to check the gap on the front of the compressor to see how wide that gap is, to see if it needs to be adjusted. Now, what you're seeing down there is the air conditioner compressor. The clutch is on the front of it. The belt wraps around the pulley, and when the air conditioning is off, the front of the compressor is not moving at all. Now, when you turn the compressor or the air conditioning system on, the front of that compressor will suck in, and which is the clutch engaging the compressor. Then the compressor will turn on, circulate the Freon, and cool the car. Now, right on the very front of that, you can see a little gap, and I'm going to stick something in there so you can see where you need to check the gap for the proper spacing. Now, if you look down in there, right after the pulley, you'll see I stuck a zip tie, that white zip tie, in between the pulley and the front of the compressor that has to engage whenever you turn the system on. So you need to take something, usually a filler gauge, and check that gap and make sure that it's the proper depth so that your compressor will function properly. I've seen those gaps twice. What this one is here. Now, what I have here is a spark plug gap filler gauge, and the proper depth of that gap in that compressor should be between 0.3 millimeter and 0.5 millimeter. If it's less than 0.3 millimeter, the compressor may not release when it's supposed to, and when it's 0.5 millimeter larger than that, it may not have the ability to engage once it's warmed up, which is a common problem. Now,
when your system is functioning properly, it'll engage and disengage to avoid freezing, and it will disengage to deliver more power to the motor when the motor needs it. Say for instance you're climbing a hill, you're trying to pass somebody or something like that, the system will disengage the air conditioning compressor, delivering more power to the motor, and then after you let off the throttle some, it'll re-engage. So if it's not re-engaging, that clutch gap may be too wide. So what you want to do is you want to look at your filler gauge, find the 0.3 millimeter and stick that in that gap to see what that spacing is. And if it's too large, you need to get that gap closed either by using the zip tie method, which I'll show you here, or pulling the front of that clutch off, which I'm not going to do. I have another video linked below to that process where I kind of hacked away at that. It can be done better, but anyway, this one will show you the zip tie method. So here I've taken a 0.356 millimeter shim, set it down in there, and it fits just about perfectly in that gap on that front of that compressor. Now I've already adjusted this one, but immediately following this segment you'll see how I did that with zip ties. Now these are the tools and equipment I use to install the zip ties. However, these zip ties are probably going to be too small. Zip ties are basically small, medium, and large. You want to use medium ones. If you use the larger ones, it'll probably close the gap too much. So use the size a little bit up from here. Probably I would say 8 to 10 inch zip ties at the largest, and you should be fine. Then I use needle nose pliers, some utility screwdrivers, and snips to get the job done. You should also have some kind of filler gauge to measure the gap in the front of the clutch. Well, after about 3 years of ownership, my clutch gap opened back up, and so my air conditioner quit working. So I'm back in here on round 2. I'm planning on taking a trip within 48 hours, so I don't feel comfortable with taking the compressor out and re-shimming the clutch that way. So I'm back installing zip tie. This time I'm doing it from up top. Seems like I'll be done in a half an hour. What I'm doing is I'm taking a small utility screwdriver. I set it in place and tap it with a long extension to get it wedged in place. And then I'm taking the zip tie and threading it through there and pulling it through with some extra long needle nose pliers. So let me put the zip tie in place so you can see how I'm taking the zip tie and I'm curling the end a little bit so that when the end goes in, it will immediately curl out to me. So I'm putting kind of a hook on the tip of the zip tie, and my hands are small enough to reach down there and start threading that through. So I get on top of it, start threading it through that way, and the tip comes out back to me. So I got the screwdriver wedged in that bracket like in the other video. Then I get the zip tie loop through there like that, and then I take my long hook needle nose pliers and pull that zip tie down until the head of it is on the clutch, and then I thread the tip. I bring the tip of it back around and thread it through to zip it. Now that I got the head of the zip tie all the way down next to the screw, I'm gonna find the end of it and feed it through the zip tie and zip it. Now that I got my zip tie started through the end of it, I'm gonna pull it tight and snip it off with my snipper. Now that I have my zip tie tight, I'm gonna pull that screwdriver out with my needle nose pliers. Now that the screwdriver's out of the way, I'm gonna reach my snippers down there and snip that last zip tie off. Now that I have 3 more zip ties in place, you can see the black ones and the white ones, I'm gonna go ahead and spin the clutch around and measure the gap with my spark plug gap tool. Now this is how the zip ties sit on the front of the clutch. Okay, now I need to measure the gap, and I want to make sure that the whole way around that the gap is at least a 0.3 millimeter or 0.012 inch gap the whole way around. So I'm going to get that filler, put it in that gap, and go all the way around. Once I know that I got at least that gap the whole way around, I'll find the largest one that'll fit in the gap and make sure that it's not a larger gap than 0.5 millimeter. Alright, this one right here is 0.305 millimeter, and it is the 0.12 inch, I believe, filler gauge. So I'm going to try to make sure this will ride all the way around that clutch gap so that I have enough space for it to free itself up when it needs to. Okay, I really can't get the gap that I need, so I'm going to take those zip ties and push them toward the center of the compressor clutch, and hopefully that will free me up some space around the edge of the clutch so that it can have the proper gap that it needs. So I'm going to take a flat tip screwdriver and push those zip ties in. I think these last set of zip ties I used were a little bit too thick, so I'm going to probably replace those so that they're not closing that gap so far, and then I'll be done. But that's how you could put zip ties in the clutch. If you feel that this information was beneficial, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can also subscribe to my channel so that you can get notification of future videos that I post. Visit my channel. I have all types of do-it-yourself videos there. You can leave questions here and I'll try to respond to them as quick as possible. You can also visit my website at robertspinner.com. Thanks again for watching.